Welcome to another edition of the Giants Huddle podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. Thanks for being with us. My name is John Schmeelk. We continue our position series, talking to each group of players at each position on the Giants roster. We're still getting through the offense. Today, we're going to talk to the tight ends. And now we're joined by Giants tight end Daniel Bellinger. Belly, how are you, man?
Good, man. Good.
So, do you feel like a veteran now? I feel like you just showed up here. I'm sure you feel like in some ways you just showed up here too. But then I look down, I'm like, wow, he's sitting towards the end of his rookie contract here. This is crazy.
It's insane to think about, but it's definitely like in the moment it feels long, but now you look back on it, it's like, man, it went by like that. It was quick.
Where do you think you've grown the most as a player since you've gotten here?
Just being a vet and kind of learning the nuances of not just the New York Giants, but of the NFL and of the league, and kind of learning how things process and how other guys process things, and really just kind of taking more experiences and turning into like a vet.
How do you think your game is expanded? Because obviously you came from a program in college where there was a lot of running,
right,
a lot of passing. How do you think your game is expanded in terms of how you're being used and utilized?
A lot of versatility in terms of, the fullback position and the tight end position, whether it's pass game, run game, really kind of doing it all and being able to manage it all, unlike in college when it was just the run game. So, it's definitely been a versatility aspect of it.
You mentioned the fullback stuff. I really feel like you've taken to that. Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy lining up in the backfield and doing some of that fullback stuff?
Listen, I love playing football. So if it's fullback, if it's tight end, if it's a receiver, if it's special teams, whatever it is, I just like playing football, and I'm enjoying being out there playing the game of football.
Is it a little bit of a different mentality when you're a fullback as opposed to tight end?
Definitely a little more hard nose, tighten up your chin strap a little bit more, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
And the thing I like, and we saw Brian Daboll use you, I think they ran a play-action pass last year, and you got one-on-one on linebacker, you ran like a deep out or a flag, and you call like a 20-yard pass. You can get set up some nice mismatches in the pass game from that fullback spot, right?
Oh, yeah. Once we get this run game going, it's opening up the play action, it's opening up the pass game. So, having a tight end at fullback opens up a lot of doors. Obviously,
in the spring, there's not a lot of contact. You're not doing a lot of run game stuff. But are you excited about what this run game can look like, given the additions of Cam Scatterbull? You have your whole offensive line group back. You got you guys at tight end. What could this run game do pairing with play action if everything goes the way it's supposed to?
Super excited about the run game. I think the coaches are doing a great job putting us in the best position possible. I think we have vets on the O-line. I think we have some young guys coming in in the backfield. But I think they're ready. I think they're ready to step up, and I think we're going to be a physical up-front team.
Can they fit all you guys in the tight end room? Because I feel like there's a lot of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of us in there, but we're all in there and we're all working pretty good.
I think it's a fun group. Like you have so many guys. Like if you lined you guys up and like against the wall, right, and we're all looking at you, you wouldn't think all of you play the same position necessarily, just because you're so different, shapes and styles and skill sets.
Yeah, right. We're all a little different in our own way, but I think that helps our team in the fact that we know what we're good at, and we can look at other guys and see what they're good at and take from their game and put it into our game.
Tell me about Thomas Fidone, the rookie. What kind of advice have you given him trying to get used to things, and what have you seen from him on the field so far?
Young guy from Nebraska, super athletic. Definitely gets in this playbook a lot and knows what he's doing. So, he's a rookie and he's learning, but he's an uber athletic guy that wants to get out there and help our team. So that's the most exciting part. He's a good guy, dude. He's a good guy.
Yeah, two things I was going to ask you about with him. One, he came from a very pro scheme at Nebraska, right? He was with Matt Rule, a lot of NFL concepts. Have you seen him pick things up a little bit quicker because of that?
Oh, yeah. Certain concepts we put in, he's already done before at Nebraska, so he kind of knows or has a good idea of what we're looking for when we're trying to do it.
All right, the second thing I want to ask you about is his length. He's got 34-inch arms. How does that help as a tight end when you're long, trying to find those areas in the middle of the field where it can be very congested?
It's huge. It's nice, obviously, in pass pro and run game because, you get those lengthy DNs that you need. But in the pass game, it's huge because, that extra inch when you're running an in cut or a corner, it's that much more. So having those long arms helps a lot.
Finally, what goals have you set out for yourself this year?
Just win. Help the team win. Any way, anyhow. Anything, any position they put me in, let's just help the team win and let's get some more wins.
Belly, good stuff, man. Thank you.
All right, brother. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. And now we're joined by veteran Giants tight end Chris Manhertz. Chris, what's going on, man?
How are you?
Do you feel like a dad in there sometimes with like a bunch of little kids and you're trying to get them to do the right stuff all the time?
Feel like the seasoned vet in the room for sure.
So I think it's a fun room though. Like you look at all the guys in there, and I was joking with Belly earlier. Like if you line all you guys up like against the wall, like a lineup, right? you wouldn't think that necessarily all you guys play the same position because a lot of you are built a little bit differently and you all have different skill sets. Is that fun having that type of diverse of a group in the room together?
It's definitely fun. I think it's just a testament to the versatility that we have in the room as a whole. Obviously, a lot of different skill sets across the board with the people that we have in there. So it's fun group to be a part of.
What can this group become, right? You guys got a guy like Theo Johnson. He's had all the physical ability in the world. The rookie Thomas Fidone, really long, athletic guy. As these guys begin to learn, Chris, what do you see as the upside for some of the young guys in the room?
I feel like the upside is extremely high, especially guys like Theo and the other younger guys. Boatload of potential, has the size, the athleticism, the quickness, could run routes, could get open, could block at the point of attack. All those things are highly critical for the tight end position, as you could imagine. But it's pretty exciting to, kind of be a part of that group and kind of help them out and add value in ways that I can as well.
Let's talk about you. You obviously come in here, you're a guy that they rely heavily in the blocking part of the game, right? When you look back at your last year, how do you think you played and how would you evaluate your own season?
I think I played well. Half the battle at this point in my career is remaining and staying dependable and healthy to play a full season.
Doesn't matter where you are in your career, by the way. I think that's a challenge for everybody, to be honest with you.
Right. And at this point, I know what my role is. I know why I'm here. I'm here to bring a physical presence in the run game and kind of emphasize that brand of football that Giants football is all about, being tough, being dependable, and making the plays that come to you as well. So it's definitely something to look forward to, and I'm pretty excited about it.
What can you learn about a tight end group in spring practice when you can't really be physical yet, there's no pads, you can't really block? What can you learn about your group in a setting like that?
I think more importantly, at that point in the year, we're trying to install the playbook, learn a new system. A lot of these guys will get tested on their cognitive capacity, how quickly they can process information, how they could retain information, and that's by design. Coach Dable and the coaching staff does a good job of, putting us in the fire a little bit and testing us so that once the real bullets start flying, it's a little bit more smoother and easier.
And look, tight end's one of the toughest positions to learn, especially for young players, because you have to learn everything, right? You're not just learning the pass game. You got to learn protections, you got to learn run block, you got to learn everything. How have the young guys kind of taken to it, even Theo heading from year 1 to year 2, figuring out some of the details necessary to be successful at the position?
He's definitely took ownership of it, and all of us do a collective job as a group of just helping each other out and figuring things out along the way. But a lot of those things just comes with reps, comes with times, comes with a boatload of preparation. A lot of things that people don't see when you're in this building. It's really what you do when you're outside of this building and really trying to catch up and learn as quickly as you can.
What are the toughest things for a young tight end to pick up and figure out going from college to the NFL? What takes the longest to click?
Just speaking from my experience, I think the mental part is a lot as well. Processing information quickly, reading the defense, making route adjustments on the fly, things like that. And once you really get a grasp of that with reps, obviously, then it just slows down for you. Now you're playing without thinking. Now you're just playing fast. And, a lot of times when these guys are playing fast and not thinking, that's when they play their best. So just trying to get to that point as fast as we can as possible is definitely paramount.
And then what kind of goals have you set out for yourself this year?
My biggest goal is to remain a dependable asset in this run game and obviously make the plays in the pass game that come to me, but just remaining dependable, being a great teammate, being a physical presence in the run game, and being somebody that my teammates and coaches could rely on me to go out there and execute and play.
Finally, where do you think this run game hit its stride the best last year? Was it zone scheme? Was it power? Was it duo? Where do you think where do you think the run game was at its best?
I think honestly, with the running backs that we have now, we have a great deal of versatility as far as whether it's outside zone, whether it's gap schemes. We have the personnel that fits each and every one of those things. And obviously the O-line and tight ends have to do a great job in making that possible and clearing up lanes for the running back. But it's a mixed bag with this group, and that's kind of the most exciting thing. Yeah. Throughout training camp, we'll kind of see what we're really good at once the pads start coming on, obviously. But it's pretty exciting at this point.
Chris, good stuff, man. Appreciate your time, dude.
Thank you.
Chris Manhertz. The Giants Huddle podcast is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. From game day celebrations to your everyday financial needs, Big Blue fans can get the most out of every moment with Citizens. Go to citizensbank.com/Giants.
Huddle up, get in here. If you're lined up here, you gotta go over the middle with it to score.
Right. How do we make that happen?
I don't know, but Citizens does. Make sense of your money with Citizens, official bank of Eli Manning.
We're joined by Giants rookie tight end, Thomas Fidone. Thomas, what's going on, man? How are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. So I had a chance to talk to Thomas Satterfield, your tight end coach.
Satterfield, yeah. Marcus
Satterfield, sorry, at Nebraska. And, you know, he basically said to me when you got here that you should be really comfortable in everything that we do because of the system that Coach Rule had in Nebraska. Very pro style.
Yeah.
You had to run block, under center, and all this stuff. Have you found that the transition maybe has been a little bit easier for you because of what you were asked to do in college?
Yeah, absolutely. I say this all the time, I think, but yeah, what Coach Rule did at Nebraska, the offense we ran, even just had like the verbiage that we use within the offense for the play call and stuff like that, definitely has made the transition a lot easier for sure.
What has it been like trying to learn this offense? Everyone, Jameis Winston here, he's been in the league for 10 years, and he said to me, man, this offense is complicated. What is it like for a rookie?
No, it definitely is. I mean, there's definitely a lot of details in each and every play. Sometimes, there's multiple plays within one play, but it definitely is a tough offense to learn. But it hasn't been, anything that I haven't done before, kind of like we touched on a little bit at Nebraska. So it's been good for sure.
Now, obviously, you're not doing a ton of the run game yet because there's no pads and it's mostly a passing camp. So how has it been trying to learn the route concepts and, some of the optionality that you guys are given as a tight end in this offense, depending on what the defense is showing you, you can then adjust your route and do stuff like that? Yeah,
see, that was something that's kind of a learning curve for me. It's just kind of having more freedom within your routes, being able to just kind of, versus different looks the defense is giving you. You don't have to be square cut on each and every one of your routes. So that's been something that's changed from college to here. It's just having some more freedom, which I definitely like, but just getting used to that. Instead of, running it the way it's supposed to be ran or says to be ran, you can have some freedom. So that's been a big change, but it's a good change.
You had to deal with 2 very serious injuries back-to-back years in college. How did you kind of fight through that mentally, get back on the field? And it seems like you've gotten your athleticism back. You can tell me better than me. I don't know if your GPS changed or whatever, but how did you kind of get through that and kind of get back to where, all right, now you're in the NFL and you're rocking and rolling? Yeah,
no, definitely. I've always been someone with a very strong mindset, and I wasn't going to let anything, take me off course of what I, had planned for myself. But no, I definitely, I don't think I ever lost my athleticism. An injury isn't going to make me lose it.
Same knee twice, right?
Yeah, same knee twice. Worked extremely hard to come back. I was faster than I was. I hit 21 something miles per hour in college multiple times recently. Before the combine when I was training and stuff like that. And obviously my agility. I was top 2 or 3. I was really top 3 really in everything at the combine.
You were.
Some of the things I was I showed my explosiveness, in broad jump, 10-6, stuff like that. Just being able to showcase that was huge for me to show, teams that, one, it shows your mentality when you come back from something like that, and then also like your athleticism and how you come back. So being able to do that was good.
Absolutely. When you think about yourself as a receiver, what do you think of as your strength? Do you think of yourself as more of a seam runner? Do you think yourself as more as like the agile option route type of guy where you can win with your quickness? What would you think your strength is in terms of your receiving ability?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely I like to do a little bit of everything. I take pride in being able to do everything, but I'm definitely, I think, better in deeper situations, crossing routes, seams, stuff like that. But I am quick and agile. I'm tall and long though, so sometimes it doesn't look like that on film. No, I'd probably, get me open downfield and winning versus man is definitely something that I'd say is one of my strengths.
You mentioned your long arms. How does that help you as a tight end with those 34-inch arms? Not only in the passing game, creating windows in between safeties and linebackers and stuff, but also then in the running game when you have to use the block.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage, and especially like, in pass setting and stuff like that, being able to, have length on DN, stuff like that. because they're usually typically pretty lengthy people as well. So definitely having long arms is big in the run game. Being able to create that separation for the running back and stuff like that, and from me into the D end. But yeah, it's really good for sure.
All right, tell Giant fans, we haven't had a chance to see it yet. Again, there's no pads in the spring. What do you bring as a blocker in the run game?
Physicality. I'm extremely physical in the run game. I'm definitely a willing blocker. I like to put my head in there and hit. We did a lot of, as we touched on, blocking and periods where we worked on a lot of stuff like that in Nebraska. So just I'm definitely a willing blocker. At tight end, you'd be surprised. There's all across college and stuff like that. You meet people who don't like to block. So,
some of them aren't even asked to block.
Yeah, it's a new football, a new day age football. You got Ys, you got Fs, you got kind of fullbacks who play a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So I've just been someone who's tried to be able to do it all.
How have the veterans been in the room trying to kind of move you along and kind of get you? It's kind of a weird room. You got a lot of guys. You have Manhertz, who's kind of like the vet.
Yeah.
Then you have other younger vets, and you have another guy's a couple. Theo Johnson's in his second year. How does that room kind of interact with each other and kind of come together to help everybody get better?
Yeah, I think we got a great room. A bunch of really good dudes. Kind of touched on, Chris being in the league for like 10 plus years, being able to learn from him. And just kind of take little tidbits and pieces from him, watching him, how he practices, the way he approaches things. And then same thing with like Theo and Belly. Theo took on, kind of touched on, he's like a young vet. He took on a big role last year, did really well. And then Belly, obviously, he had a big season. When he was put in that position. And then being able to learn from, I feel like Belly's been really helpful to me, being able to learn from him. Things that he kind of has shown me, and being able to talk through with him on some things. But he's so good at everything, and he's really smooth. I like to watch him and kind of just learn from him for sure.
Thomas, this is great, man.
I appreciate
Can't wait to see you on the field in the summer when the pads come on, man.
Yes, sir. Me too.
Thank you very much.
If you want to know how to manage 2 minutes of crunch time football, I'm your man. But if you're wondering about a long-term financial plan, you should talk to Citizens. Hey, I can also talk lawn care.
I'd like to learn about a mowing routine.
Yes, I knew I could help. Make sense of your money with Citizens.
All right, and now we're joined by Giants tight end Theo Johnson. Theo, what's up, man?
What's going on?
All right, so difference between Theo Johnson talking to you today than when I spoke to you, I think probably around almost a year ago today. How have you changed?
Huge difference. I know what it's like to be a professional football player now. I was learning as I went week by week, and just the knowledge I've gained. It's crazy to look at some of the rookies now and seeing how they might think they have things figured out or they know what to expect when it's like, man, you got no clue what's coming.
Do you kind of laugh at them a little bit behind, like not to their face, but do you think?
I don't laugh at them, but it's kind of cool to see like just having been in that situation and now being where I am now. I've learned a ton, just about what I need to do outside the building, how I need to take care of my body, what my routine needs to look like. And obviously I'm still learning. It's only my second year, but just the growth I've had from this year, last year is tremendous.
All right, I don't want to miss out on this question. I want to ask you right off the top. You and Abdul Carter have talked about unfinished business from practice at Penn State. I talked to Deion Barnes last week, Abdul's defensive line coach, and he said there was a lot of violence at Penn State practice. So can you tell us what those matchups were like between you and Abdul when you guys worked against each other at Penn State?
Yeah, it's just two high-level competitors going in every day. We both took practice very seriously, and we were both kind of alpha dogs on opposite sides of the ball. So, things can get tense, can get heated, but at the end of the day, we're both competitors. We both respect each other as competitors.
Sure.
But we pushed each other, and I told him this. I went to his last game when they played Notre Dame in Miami. I told him, man, you made me a better player playing against you every day in practice. And I'd hope that if you asked him that question, he'd probably say the same thing about me. So. We definitely got it. We've gotten into it for sure, but I got a ton of respect for him.
And he wasn't even an edge player then. He was playing off-ball linebacker at that point.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where, and the coaches knew it at Penn State too. So they'd call us out in practice, and we do one-on-ones in front of the whole team and stuff. So the coaches were kind of in on it too, because they knew these are our top guys, on the opposite side of the ball.
All right. Do you feel, if you just look at the numbers, right? They started going up and up and up towards right before you got hurt. Did you feel that 2, just in terms of your improvement and your comfort level? Did you feel like you were starting to peak right before the injury happened?
Yeah, I felt it. I felt it coming on. The more comfortable I got, and kind of like I was saying earlier, like just feeling what it's like to be in my groove. Like now having an idea, like, all right, I have this many games on my belt. This is what it's got to look like. And then just as like it's like, all right, like man, I can really finish on a super high note this year. The injury happened, which was super discouraging, but at the same time like encouraging at the same time, because it's like, all right, now I know I'm gonna have a full off season to kind of prepare and figure things out. So I definitely felt like I was catching on at the right time, and unfortunately the injury kind of put a hold on that.
What's the next step in your game for you?
Yeah, I think the big thing for me this year is I want to play 17 games. Like that is number one priority. I've been taking my recovery and my health and what I'm putting in my body and everything more serious than I ever have. So I think that is the biggest goal for me is prioritizing my health and wellness and making sure that I'm available and consistent throughout 17 weeks.
In terms of receiving and being a receiver, where do you think your strength lies? Do you still think of yourself as more of a seam runner? Do you see yourself as more of like an option guy? All right, I'm running, I can go inside or out, and me and the quarterback are on the same page. Where do you see your strength as a receiver flashing the most in the way this offense is structured and put together?
Yeah, so we've been getting a little bit of different things, and OTAs is the time to try different things out, and we got a new quarterback who has different skill sets and stuff like that. So we've been experimenting, and I think that there's a good opportunity for me to do a lot more in the option game this year.
Nice.
Different things on third downs, all stuff like as a tight end you get super excited about, like just the different concepts and things that really complement my skill set and my play style. So I think it's going to be a good mixture of still running seams and stuff, but also working in some of the more intermediate option type routes as well.
And finally, I know blocking can get very technical. What are some of the technique things in terms of the blocking game that you think you need to fine-tune? If you fine-tune those, you can become an elite helper in terms of blocking in the run game.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when I look at the tape from last year is just like not losing the block at the end. I'll do a good job getting initially engaged, and then right as the runner's coming and he's choosing a side, I'll lose him towards the end of the block. So I think the big thing for me is just finishing those plays, finishing the blocks.
Is that better hand placement so you can stay latched to the guy? Or
yeah, it's really bringing your hips.
Okay.
So if the closer you get your hips to their hips, when he tries to disengage or he tries to pull you, you're going to be able to stay intact.
You can control them, right?
Yeah, if your hips are back and you're leaning forward, then if someone pulls you, you're just going to take your momentum, use it against you. So that's something I've worked a ton on. That also comes with a lot of core strength.
Sure.
So if you've got a stronger core, then you're not going to get thrown as much. I've been doing Pilates twice a week trying to get the core stronger.
Nice.
So I think we're going to see improvement in that area.
You certainly got a lot of good players to work against when we get to the summer and the pads come on. So there'll be no Brian Burns, Kayvon. There'll be no shortage of guys to work on.
No question.
Theo, good stuff, man. Appreciate
Thank
the time,
you.
dude.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. And now we're joined by Giants tight end Greg Dulcich. Greg, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm great. Yeah.
So you arrived late last year.
Yeah.
How helpful was it that you kind of got a taste of the offense and everything like that, at least just for a couple months into last year, so when you kind of hit the ground running when you got here for full season?
Yeah. It was huge, like you said, to kind of get a little bit of a head start, a taste of how the offense is run, and getting to meet everyone obviously was huge. Knowing the teammates and the coaches so that they knew me, how I work, how I kind of operate, and I kind of had the same experience with them in those 5 or 6 weeks that I was here at the end of the year. So it was definitely helpful.
Did you think Russ would just follow you here?
Oh my gosh, I heard the news. I was so ecstatic. Like it was perfect. I mean, played with him in Denver, obviously. Got a great connection, and Russ, on top of just being a phenomenal player, just a great teammate, and it's going to be an exciting year for sure.
What is it about him? All the players here have been glowing about him since he got here.
Yeah.
I talked to Davis Webb, who obviously was his quarterback's coach in Denver. He said, awesome guy to work with.
Yeah.
What is it about him that just makes it work with everyone?
Yeah, just everything. I mean, he's got a presence to him, and I think, one word that kind of sticks out, I don't know if it's the perfect word, but loyalty. Like, he's a loyal dude. Like, you're his teammate. Like, I mean, he's played a lot. He knows a lot about football, and whatever else. And all of, his knowledge and anything that he has is totally accessible to you. Like when you're his teammate, he's, goes out of his way to, provide for his teammates and make sure everyone's good and to, be a team first guy, which is huge. And, can't ask for anything else,
For Giant fans that maybe haven't seen you play a ton, what do you bring to this offense as a receiver at tight end?
Yeah, obviously, like you said, receiving is kind of my strong suit, but I like to, work to be a complete tight end. I think our tight end room, we've got a ton of great pieces, a lot of athletes and a lot of guys that can move people in the run game. So I'm excited about, how they'll move us around and, get the most out of us because all of us are in there to contribute, help this team win.
I remember watching you coming out, and I thought you stretched the field down the seam vertically as a seam runner really well.
Appreciate it.
And we all know that Russ likes to push the ball down the field.
Certainly,
Is that a good match for you guys together?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when we played in Denver, that was kind of the connection we had. And so trying to continue to foster that and build it here in this offense. And, however the coaches are going to allow us to do it, we'll get after it.
Well, we can't wait to see it. Great, good stuff, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the time, dude.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Maybe the most interesting position group on this roster. A lot of young guys. They have not met their potential yet. Guys with a little bit of a different skill set, physical builds. They can all do a little bit different things. It was a fun group to talk to, and I think it's the group that really has one of the higher ceilings on the roster if these guys can put it together and figure it out. Many of them still on their rookie contracts. That's all the time we have for this episode of the Giants Huddle podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the Giants. We'll see you next time.